Hey guys, welcome to the HKC 217 podcast. This podcast is powered by All Seasons Energy, and this podcast is sponsored by Champions Flat Track School. And today we're going to be interviewing the one and only Pete Boast.
The one and only.
Yeah.
Some people wish, but some people are pleased there's only one of us.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions.
All right, okay. I'll look forward to that.
So we'll get into them. So give us a rough, brief summary over your career.
You said about this, and it's difficult. It's difficult. But firstly, thank you for asking me for being on here. Like I've seen some of your stuff on, and it's mega. And for such a young man, I'm so pleased to be here, because one day that'll make a lot of difference to me when I'm watching you in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. For myself. Roughly, quickly, I have been a man of many disciplines in motorcycling, and most probably the reason that is that I get to a stage where I can't get any further really. But yeah, so for me as a kid, I started, because when I was your age, Hudson, you could only do motocross. That's all you could do. So that's how I started doing motocross. I did a bit of sand racing as well. My dad was a grass tracker, so I also used to ride a bit of grass track, but I wasn't that bothered about grass track. I just like scrambling. So scrambling was the first thing. Did okay, not too exciting, but road race was the big thing I always wanted to do. So so road racing, just to give you a brief outline, I did it for 13 years, I think, from 1980 to 93. In them years, I rode British Championships, rode British Superbikes for 3 years, rode British Super Sport Championship, and I'm not going to go into results, but we was thereabouts. And some of them did a lot of TTs in that period as well. And then after '93, I got a desire. I went quickly. Sorry to drag on, but quickly I went to America to try flat track, and I thought this is the thing for me. Went to the States. I was the first European ever to race flat track at pro level and try it out, but I found out that I wasn't good enough to be a pro runner. I lasted about 8 meetings out there before I run out of money, and then I come back, and the nearest thing in this country and in Europe was Speedway. So I thought, well, if I can learn to slide a bike, I've got half a chance of maybe going back to America to try again. So I thought, well, I'll go to some practices. Went to some practices, learned to ride a Speedway bike. That was pretty okay, because a few months in it, I got signed up to ride in a Division 3 team, and then this wasn't the plan at all, but I ended up being 7 years professional Speedway rider, which was not the plan, because I wanted to go back to America, but I actually earned some money riding Speedway, which was amazing, really. So 7 years riding Speedway, rode at Premier League, 2 seasons in Premier League. We won the league with Sheffield in '99, and then I went back to America and when we went flat tracking. And this time I was a bit handier. So I did the amateur nationals first, won a few of them, then I got my pro license, and then I started racing in America. During that time in America, it also kicked off in England and Europe. So I was really busy for sort of 2006 through to 2011, doing America, Europe and England, and I was involved in getting it running over here and stuff, and it was a great time, and won a few things doing that, I'll maybe say, but and then I ended up getting the bug for going back road racing, and only to do classic stuff originally, but I did end up going back to the TT in 2014. I did race some modern stuff. I raced Oliver's Mountain modern stuff and that, but I raced classic. I did the endurance racing with Team Classic Suzuki. Lucky enough to partner people like Guy Martin and John Reynolds and people like that, which was great. And I've really enjoyed my road racing, and it's been fantastic. But as you know, Hudson, I've just knocked that on the head, and I want to concentrate on you young ones and look after you and do a little bit of off-road riding.
Yeah, so on to second question. What was your first ever bike and how old were you when you got it and rode it?
Right, my first ever bike was, in them days, because I'm really old,
Yeah.
right? So I'm talking like early 70s. You couldn't really buy a bike to go, for kids.
Yeah.
So my dad had to make a bike, and he made it out of called a BSA Bantam, right? 175 BSA Bantam. But he made it look like a grass tracker. So my dad was racing grass track, and then at the end of the meeting, I rode this BSA Bantam round the field, which was, oh mate, it was the best thing ever. I loved that bike, It was brilliant. The only downside about it, Hudson, it was a real weird bike. Sometimes you used to kick it off, and then you would start, and you let the clutch out, and it would go backwards. Oh, it was a weird bike. It was a weird bike.
It went backwards?
Yeah, it went backwards. So the engine was like, on a two-stroke, sometimes you can get the timing really close to top dead centre. So it's like, if not get too technical, but basically, instead of firing going down, it fired going up. So like the actual rotation of the motor went the other way. Yeah. And it was really weird because when you're like, went backwards. But yeah, that was my first bike. And did you ask me for that? And I did a few grass tracks on that. So that was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you remember your first win and what bike was that on?
It took me a while to get a few wins. It was schoolboy scrambling really, and I've actually got the exact bike that I did my first win on, which was a thing called, nobody will know what this bike is at all. It's called an Asps 125, and I won a few scrambles on that. I just remember winning my first scramble race. We used to go to a place called Summer Coast, which is right on the coast, right on the east coast, and it was sandhills, and we used to do it in the winter, and it was mate, it was the greatest meetings ever. I loved them meetings, and in the middle of winter, it was every other week, and we used to go, and I won a few races. That was my first race to win, really. Cool.
What was your proudest achievement that you've achieved?
Proudest?
The one that you're most proudest of?
Crikey, that's tough. That is tough. I sort of have each discipline sort of like have my proudest moment. Can I say each discipline? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'd say that.
Road racing. Road racing. Probably getting a top 6 in the Isle of Man. Probably that's my proudest moment. That was pretty cool.
Not too bad going.
No, so that's it. Flat track would be winning the British Championship in 2009. My dad was alive then, and I won the European Championship as well that year. And that was a proud moment. That was pretty good. And then Speedway, I mentioned it already, which was winning the Premier League with Sheffield Tigers. We won that in '99. Wow. And Sheffield had never ever, they've been one of the oldest speedway teams in the country, and then never ever won a title like that before. And there was only 8 of us in team, so that was a real proud do really. So for speedway, that was cool.
What made you want to join the Isle of Man TT?
Because I was brought up on it. Because my dad was a big TT fan. Yeah. So when I was your age, my dad used to take me every year to the TT. My heroes were, people like John Williams, Joey Dunlop, Mick Grant. In the late 70s, like they all I wanted to be was one of them. That's like all I wanted to be. So you wouldn't, now I think, crikey, what was I doing? But like, I think I was, I was 16 in 8. So 82, I did my first Manx Grand Prix, so I'd be 18. I know, it's like...
That's crazy.
I know, it seems a bit daft now, doesn't it?
Like 18.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. My dad, my dad never really said too much about it neither, really. And my mum was all right about it, so it was a bit weird, So you're getting the no on that, Hudson, aren't you? But, So that started the TT bug, and I had that TT bug all the time, and yeah, it's it's an awesome place, and there's lots of history being made over there, but also a few bad things as well. So, but no, long may it live, and yeah, it might be a bit on borrowed time at the moment, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So, stopping with the TT subject. Recently, you had a crash at the TT.
Yeah. Here I am shouting about how good it is and all that. Yeah, I did. Hudson, yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a tricky one really because I've been out with the newcomers on my Super Twin, and this year's Manx Grand Prix or Classic TT, whatever they call it now. And they'd asked me to take the newcomers out, 5 newcomers. I've been out on my Twin, and it felt really good, and I was happy with it. And I thought, you know what, I need to go out on this 250. Now, if anybody knows what 2-strokes are like, you know, the finical things are not always perfect, but I thought we got this bike pretty well set up, and I went out, I got through Braddon and with James Hind at the time, and we both accelerated hard to the next part of the track, and just as I was tipping in the next part of 5th gear, probably 130 mile an hour, my bike seized up. Yeah, so she was a big one. Hudson, she was a big one, yeah.
Oh, so, seized up. That's like the worst thing.
Yeah, it's like somebody you're sticking the back brake on.
Yeah.
When you least expect it, when you're cranked over, and you can't let go of cannot let go of the rear brake. Like, it's like, it is the weirdest thing.
It's crazy.
So it was like, yeah, mate, I didn't know too much about it, but it was 7 ribs, 12 vertebrae, punctured lung, and a broken wrist. And the broken wrist is giving me the most grief at the moment still. But yeah, it was not a good day, that, Hudson. But then Steve Plater said to me, actually, it was a good day because you're still here. So fair dues, maybe it was a good day. But honestly, Hudson, I've done lots and lots of TTs, and that is the first big one I've ever had. And I'd only ever crashed once other time in the Isle of Man, and that was nothing of a crash. So.
Yeah. Going off maybe still on the Isle of Man TT subject. What's your favourite bike?
My favourite bike?
Or
can I do the same as what I just did with the 3 disciplines?
They make
because
it's different on each subject, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's so hard because, you know, like doing 3 different disciplines at that. Like I've done trials, motocross and that, I'm okay at that, but like these other 3 disciplines, like I gave it my best shot at all 3, so I certainly have favourite bikes on all 3 really. So road racing wise is OW01, which is the super bike of the time. So in 92 I raced British Superbikes on that, and I was pretty competitive on that because it was a really good privateer's bike. Although it had been out a couple of years, it still was like really good, really strong, and had some great results. And I was lucky enough when I started riding again, getting another OW, and again had some great results. We went to Spa, and I won at Spa, and a few things on that. So yeah, OW1's my favourite. It's Yamaha's special race bike really, so that was pretty cool. Flat track, I raced it's like a TL's. It's like TL1000, but it's actually the smaller engine version 650, which is a twin flat tracker. Yeah, I like them. So that was my favourite bike for that, and I raced the miles on with that, which I really enjoyed. And then Speedway, it's quite really. I've only got 2 choices in Speedway. It's either a Jawa or a GM. And yeah, I had some, like a Jawa was like the most reliable, and I loved my Jawas. They were easy to work on, and they earned me a lot of money, so that was why I liked the Jawa. Yeah, so that was good.
We've seen you were helping Franco at BSB. Do you want to tell us a bit about what you were doing there and how you got into helping him?
Yeah, just like you, Hudson, I get young lads come here and they start, you know, they're obviously doing other stuff like you, doing different championships and things. But I really reckon, you know, I really love having young lads like you, seeing you ride, seeing your ability, see how you get on. And Franco was just one of them. He'd come along and he was coming along with his granddad and grandma, realised he'd not got a lot of money, but he was still like making a journey 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever it was to get here. And I thought, yeah, you got some dedication, boy. I'm pretty impressed. Well, your granddad and grandma have for sure. So yeah, and cool. Long story short, really, he won the British Talent Cup, and then unfortunately he didn't get the ride for the free European British Talent Cup ride. So he was really left with nothing, you know. When his granddad and grandma spoke to me and said, "Pete, do you know anybody that would help?" and all that. And we spoke to some teams, and they all wanted, you know, fair, like 30, 40 grand, and they just hadn't got it, you know, and got it anyway. Took a long story short, we was lucky enough to speak to Chris Walker, and Chris says, right, I can do a bike at cost and help you out. And then so we bought that, and then we just set our own little team up really, and that got the ball rolling. And then we looked after him last year, which was 21, best we could. And then we got involved with Matt of Marvel Motorsport, and Matt's took the role on a bit, and I've obviously kept with him.
Yeah. And
this year he's been, you know, it's like stepped up another level. So we finished second in the championship, which I think was pretty awesome. And he's just a nice lad. He's grounded, and he's like many other English lads in that paddock, talented as hell. It's just getting the right brakes. It's just that's what it's about, just getting the right brakes. And hopefully we've got Franco steering in the right way now, because he's now going to ride stock thousands next year, and Matt stepped up to the plate with that, with some sponsorship. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on there.
You just sold the bike, haven't they? Have you sold the bike?
Yeah, we just sold that.
They just sold the
double race winner at Brands Hatch. Yeah, literally that bike has literally come off the track. I polished the flies and took the rubber off the back of the seat where he did a burnout at the end of the last race, and then the bloke's just literally picked it up as it finished the last race. It's been a good bike, that Kawasaki. It's been very good.
Couldn't pick up a better bike, could you?
No, not really. We've got all the data for all the you know, the settings and the gearing and everything. So the lad that's bought it is going to go away and he'll have all that. So yeah, should put him in good stead. Really.
Going kind of off that subject, what do you do here at Champions Flat Track School?
What do we do here? Spend most of my time bloody cleaning motorbikes and getting things ready, really. So I've always been involved in training one way or another, whether it's been on, I've done a lot of work with schools in the early 90s, doing teaching at Honda School, teach at the Yamaha, Loctite Yamaha School. I've worked for Ducati, you know, even worked for Harley Davidson at a school. So it's like I've worked for lots and lots of people, and I realised that, you know, people do want to just have a go, you know, just to have a go with it. And initially, I sort of thought, like the idea, because flat track was a new sport to England. I just thought, you know, people, you know, I wonder if they want to just try it, just see what it's like, just see, have a feeling of it. And so yeah, we started off going round, because we didn't have a track, we had to go round the speedway tracks in a big lorry and taking all the bikes and stuff, which worked out okay. But the trouble is, Hudson, is if it rains, it's pretty hard work to teach properly outdoors and on a track. So, and the other thing is, you know, you hire a track, you hire a truck, you need paramedics there because it's a proper place. You know, the costs were quite high as well. So we come up with this. My good friend Tim Coles owns this farm. He's not really into farming. He's Tim and Tom Neve's uncle, and he said, right, Pete, if I've got a little bit of land there, let's try and build a track, which we did. It was great. It worked. Again, we got the outside problem, but beyond that, it was really good. But then we had a few issues with the neighbours, and then Tim is going out of farming, and this big shed come available. So we did a deal and we put it in the shed. And do you know what? That started our business off properly then. So people like yourself, here we are in the middle of winter, we're riding motorcycles in the shed, and that's what flat track's about. It's just about coming, having fun, riding a motorcycle. We'll teach you the way you should ride flat track, but all we care about is you have a really good time, really good day. And like yourself, just, you know, we run a little race series. We run the practice, as you know, and just to bring on young lads like yourself and see them getting better is just like mega. So rewarding, you know. Just running flat track schools is just so rewarding for me and Jackie, you know. The other half,
And obviously to watch people coming up and progress through.
Exactly, and the best thing of all, Hudson, is, you know, when you move into BSB and stuff, I'll be going, wow, he comes to our school, you know, he's started here. And that's the great thing. I know if I watch British Talent Cup, half of them riders are riding here. So it's like, it's really cool. And then the stock 600 lads are coming here and so on. So I get to know you personally, and it's just, yeah, I feel part of what you're doing then. It's great, yeah.
What do you think the benefits of flat tracking are?
Well, it's documented in many ways, Hudson. I think even you might have heard of Kenny Roberts, yeah? Nicky Hayden, right? Okay. Randy Mola, Lawson, Rainey, you name it. Like, they all was brought up in America racing flat track. And one of the skills that flat track brings is really good throttle control. Feeling what's happening underneath you and feel the bike sliding around and see what's going on with that throttle. So it gives you a real good connection with what's going on underneath you. Plus, it's fitness, it's training, it's keeping your brain sharp, it's keeping you smart, making you, you know, learning your lines. There's so many benefits for young road racers. It's massive. But also there's benefits for road lads, you know. They may come across a slippery surface out on the road. They might, you know, come across, have to go through a gravel car park or whatever. You know, there's loads of benefits, I think. And it's just cool, isn't it? It's just cool.
Yeah, it's obviously cool to be having fun.
I've seen you sliding today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a really, really, really fun time. My sister recently came here.
She did.
And came here and obviously rode. Do you think it's a good entry point for the beginner class that you have?
I really do, yeah. I really do. Because the little kid is, you know, firstly, it's a safe environment, really.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know, there's people around we're looking after them, showing them. I think the parents appreciate that it's a proper school.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just. And I think the electric thing's awesome, and it's still, there's so many things you can do with an electric bike outside, but sometimes you've got to come inside and do it as an official thing. So like your little sister come and did it, and mate, she just come and did it, didn't she? She wasn't like, you know, she's not like we had loads of lessons or anything. She just jumped in the deep end and got stuck in, which was really good to see. And what it was really nice to see is the little kids talking to each other and just getting on. And, you know, I think it's not only the fact that they're learning to ride a bike and everything. I think for the kids and as they grow up, it's a life skill as well, isn't it? Getting on with people that, like yourself, you'd probably go to school and, you know, I don't know, 80% of your school don't want to talk about motorbikes, don't want to talk about football or something like that. But here you're going to come with the same people and you're going to talk your best mate about what you saw at the MotoGP at the weekend, aren't you? You know, and have absolutely everything in common. So I think there's loads of benefits, and especially when you start really young, it's like, yeah. But as long as they want to do it, that's the main thing. Do your sister want to do it? Yeah. Right.
We did.
I'll do it.
So that's everything.
That's everything.
That's all the questions.
Wow. How are we going to wind it up then?
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And do you want to plug any of your socials or anything, sponsors?
Website, yeah, we have obviously Flat Track School website, which is just Google Flat Track School. We'll be first on the list on that, but we obviously have Facebook page, Champions Flat Track School, which is what we use. Because I'm old, I don't go Twittering and all the rest on it. That does me, you know. I like watching YouTube stuff. I like that. That's good, and I think we pop up on that a bit now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just thank you, Hudson, for asking me. I know you've been here today, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
On level 2 today.
Yeah. I've had an amazing day.
It's good. I saw you back in that 17, like Kenny Roberts or Marquez or whoever. But yeah, you're looking good out there.
Yeah.
And just thank you very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it, and long may we carry on as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So that's Everything.
That's
Right.
everything. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.